Welcome to another episode of In the Paint. I am Avante,
And you got John Michael here?
and we are in the middle of it. So I mean, after the Nuggets won the finals, I mean, now is the real time to be a real good basketball fan because now we get to see all the real trades, all the shifting, the shaking, everything that's happening. But I mean, I'll start it off right now. Ja got 25 game suspension for the next season. And I mean, he already missed out on how many millions missing out on this season. Now he's poised to miss significantly more on top of that. I mean, what did you think when he got suspended? Because I mean, I thought he was going to get more. I thought he was going to get a lot more, believe it or not. I feel like he kind of got a slap on the wrist. What did you think?
Oh yeah. For Ja, definitely a slap on the wrist for the antics that he's been doing. Again, it's not illegal to have a gun, but with all that popularity, all that fame, all that attention, you have every kid gritting in America mainly because you're the first person doing it. Like you just can't be doing that because it's promoting something that is not very positive. Like if maybe a young boy can influence you to flash a gun, imagine the kids that are not in the spotlight and are just like education might not be their thing, school might not be their thing. Like it's definitely we don't want to let that have too much of an impact on the youth. So that was a slap on the wrist. That's good thing to the NBA Players Association. They definitely look out for their players and make sure like they don't get too much of a penalty for something like that. Because if David Stern was there, I know he's turning in his grave. He would have spent him for the season if he could.
He tried to get Allen Iverson out of there.
NBA and everybody else with the dress code and stuff like that. So I could just imagine what he would be saying right now. But kudos to them. I think they handled it well. He's still young. Like, don't give him extreme. Enough is 25 games. And yeah,
Oh,
going back.
agreed 100%. Because I mean, he tried everything with AI, the dress code. I mean, like he went hard after that type of culture, and he was like, "Look, we're not doing that no more." And like he went crazy for it. So I know he would be probably spinning right now. That man looked like a rotisserie chicken down there. I know it.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, so yeah, Ja. I mean, he messed up. I mean, we expected that, and whether he does it again is up to him. But I mean, overall, I think Ja will be back. Ja will be back doing the same thing he was doing. He'll be dominating again. I think the Memphis Grizzlies are actually in a better spot because of it, because with their recent trade, which we'll get into in a little bit, they're locked in defensively, and they were already a better team without Ja. So this kind of helps them, in my opinion, in terms of now they focus on the team as a whole as opposed to one superstar who honestly they were doing better without statistically as it shows. So I mean, I think they're in a pretty good spot for at least the first 25 games. They'll be okay. And when he comes back, work him into the system. Um, but forget
I
all
agree.
that. What's up?
I said I agree. That's a great transition. You want to talk about that trade first?
Let's do it. Let's do it because this is what we're here for. The trades. So first and foremost, I didn't see this trade coming, but Marcus Smart has been traded to where did he go? Marcus Smart went to Memphis, Tyus Jones to Washington, and Kristaps Porzingis to Boston. So now Boston has a big three. And I mean, like I was gonna say, you're a Boston guy, so I mean, tell me what was up? What's up? Because I mean,
Oh
go ahead.
man. For everybody else in Boston, it's pretty bittersweet. You know, like Marcus Smart's been here literally since like 2012, 2013. It's been like 10 years, 10 years. Since he's been here, he's hit when he's been in playoffs every single year. And you know, heart and soul of the team, he's like a Draymond Green. But honestly, I think Brad Stevens made the right call in this position because keeping Derek White and Malcolm Brogdon, which I know Malcolm Brogdon might have an injury that could be more dangerous, but I think having those two players you still didn't lose too much with Marcus Smart gone because Derek White was all defensive team this year, so you know he can play it pretty well in front of players, and he still got facilitating between the two of them. Boston still gets a first round pick, and they get Kristaps, and I think maybe they got even a second round pick. So I'm like, you just added a 7-3 guy that can shoot the three. He's like what Al Horford is for us, but better defense. He has the highest defensive rating on a pick and roll, can hit the corner three. He's a mismatch. And now you can run the lineup of depth, as I like to call it. You could pick Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Kristaps, and Al Horford. And now you have an inside-outside big man type of thing. One rim protects, the other one rebounds, another one dunks, the other one shoots. And I think he's just a more mobile Al Horford that could be everywhere. And then you still keep Al Horford coming off the bench to give you some good quality minutes. Still have Grant Williams. You still have Malcolm Brogdon, and the rest of the team. So I think this is a very good, strong pickup by Brad Stevens. He kind of shipped. We won again. We won again. The way we kind of
Oh,
just we've been finessing the league. I'm not gonna lie. We've been getting. We got Malcolm Brogdon for like a bag of chips. We got
yep,
Derek White for pretty much free.
yep.
We got Gallinari. We used all those players and kind of just got back like tenfold. Like this is the. I think it's good and it works for us well.
And I mean, it's the Celtics have always been this way. Even when Danny Ainge was at the helm, he was doing the same thing. You know, you would always see Boston making these crazy trades, and it always worked out for them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a problem sending away Marcus Smart, especially to a big competitor like Memphis, because he's too valuable in my opinion, and I'm not sure I'm willing to give him up and then keep Derek White. And it's not to say Derek White isn't valuable, but if I'm looking at defense wise, I'm taking Marcus Smart before I take Derek White. But I guess it's nice to have that backup and that option there. And then you can always go and go trade and maybe even get something out of the draft out of this as well and focus on defense. But the return on Kristaps Porzingis is too big to overlook. I mean, he's literally a unicorn. My concern there is definitely the injuries, but like you called it, a death lineup is definitely possible because now you got, and I did the math, and I was like doing the matchups last night once I saw the trade go through, and I was like, all right, so you put Porzingis at the 5, you got Horford at the 4, and even if you don't, you also have Time Lord there as well. So you got
Mm-hmm.
him as well, Grant Williams as well. So then you can interchange those, and you have your 5 and 4 switching out. You have Tatum at the 3. Tatum has been a 4 for the past 4 years, 5 years, and now you can move him to the 3 if you like. And then you got Brown at 2, and now you can put any point guard you want out there, which is probably going to end up being Derek White or Malcolm Brogdon, which I like Malcolm Brogdon, but
Yep.
Derek
I
White.
agree.
That is a dangerous ass lineup. That's just scary in terms of just being able to face it because now, as you hit it on the head, Kristaps can do. He can shoot a 3. He can defend. He can drive in. He can give you mid
Well,
range. He's a 3 level scorer. He can do it all. And so now that big 3 combination is scary, scary, scary. And now you just need defense and bench depth, and you got it, which Boston already had.
yeah.
So let me ask you this then: if you could grade each team in that trade, how would you grade them based on how that trade went down?
Celtics. I'm not gonna do pluses. I'm gonna give Celtics pretty much an A. They did the
Uh,
best they could on that.
Biased.
I'm gonna say the Grizzlies definitely they got good, but then they lost. I like Tyus Jones
Yeah.
in that system that they had, so I like the way he facilitated with Ja. But I mean, you got Marcus Smart. Honestly, you got like a better like you got a better Tyus Jones, maybe,
Okay.
and but you definitely got a better Dylan Brooks. So I think
Agreed.
Marcus Smart is the hybrid of both of them put together and the best for the 25 game suspension. So I give that one definitely. I'm gonna say I give them probably like an A on that,
Okay.
and then Wizards got an F. Like they got nothing out of this. They just kind of just handed it. So you're gonna see that trend for the Wizards. I'm pretty much gonna give them an F for a lot of these. But I would just cap it off on that on the big Celtics trade to
Okay.
win.
Okay. I
What about you?
I I I give Boston a B for their trade. And it's truly, truly just I'm concerned about injury for Kristaps Porzingis. And then giving away so much defense and as well as offense. And then, like you put it, it's like losing Draymond Green for the Warriors. The heart and soul of a team is very, very important. I give it a B because they got back a lot for it and they only lost Marcus Smart, a very valuable asset, and they were able to get something in return. So I give them a B. I give Memphis. That is a tough one because, as you put it, now they've gotten a bit of a better Tyus Jones and they can match their defense a little bit better. And now you have a replacement for Ja being out for 25 games. I think Memphis may have made an A on that trade.
Oh, Memphis
I
is
know, I know. And I was very hesitant to say it, but they may have made out pretty well in that trade. You got Jaren Jackson still down there, and you got a ton of pieces out there. They can all shoot the 3. Now you got defense. And then when Ja comes back, now you got someone who can also bring the ball, slash, and then drive and dunk it, while also still focusing on the main points. So I give them an A. I give Boston a B. And then I give Washington an F. I mean, they gave up all of their pieces for nothing, for nothing. I just don't get it. I don't get it. It didn't make sense to me. But I give him an F, which, like
okay.
you, is going to be another trend. But that brings us to another one. So Washington also received Landry Shamet, and before they had Chris Paul. Um, but they gave up their creme de la creme Bradley Beal, and they didn't get a single first round pick for him at all. They got an age old TP3 and then Landry Shamet for 3-point shooting. What did you think about that trade, and what would you grade it or give each team as far as a grade?
Okay, F for the Wizards again. Well, I've seen it before where a team gets a lot of second round picks and they just find a way to like make something happen out of it.
Right.
So there's a lot of value sometimes in second round picks nowadays, especially with how much better these kids are getting. Like the depth, Jokic was a second round pick. Like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
So I can still see like some advantages there. Obviously, the Suns get like they got better, but I think they just lost Landry Shamet. That was just like their next best defensive player, I feel like, or at least somebody off their bench. But I think they'll be fine on that with free agency coming in and they make more moves. So I'll just say that there wasn't really too much to talk about this one.
Okay. I'll agree with you on Washington, but I'm going to debate you on Phoenix because they landed a premier scorer in Bradley Beal. That's hands down, that's obvious. But they don't have any bench depth or defense. Like they don't have a core and infrastructure. And now we're essentially saying, well, hey, we just played the Clippers last year and they took us to 7, I want to say. If not, it was 6. And now we didn't add any depth or defense, but we did add more offense.
Mm-hmm.
At what point then, when y'all can't score, because Kevin Durant's going to have those nights, Devin Booker may have those nights, and then Bradley Beal may have those nights. We saw this sort of happen in Brooklyn a couple of times where they're not always going to be on the same page and they're not all going to score the same way. At what point then do you say, all right, let's put the bench in and see what we can do? Let's crank the defense up. You guys don't have that.
Yeah.
So
I might count you,
huh?
I said I might count you, not to break your train of thought,
Yeah,
but
go ahead. Go ahead.
especially in this new age of basketball, nobody plays real defense at this point. I feel like no teams really plays good defense. Like going back to Celtics series with the Heat, a lot of undrafted players. I mean, they're basketball players at the end of the day. The best of the world, but they were just a lot of open shots, not contested. That's why I'm like, man, we didn't really lose defense. We had no defense. We went down. Celtics fan, we went down 3-0, right? Got punched in the face 3 games in a row.
Yep.
So I don't think defense is a thing. I think what helps the Suns is everybody plays pretty much off ball. Kevin Durant can play off ball. Bradley Beal can play off ball. Even Devin Booker can play off ball. One of them's going to facilitate probably Devin Booker, which is probably going to look scary, especially coming off like a better passing role. You got CP3 to kind of lead you. I think it's going to be they're going to have so much firepower that they are going to beat teams off of that because their firepower is where it's going to because you won't be able to stop all 3 of them in Aiton. You won't be able to stop too many weapons. It's going to be like, can you slow them down? But again, if they're just sitting in a corner or coming off screens, you can't stop that. All you need is a screen between Kevin Durant and Devin Booker off ball or Bradley Beal. And now who do you switch off of or who do you leave for the 3? Who do you follow on the slip? You follow him on a slip, it's a backdoor dunk or layup. You sag off. That's a 3 ball from Kevin Durant or Bradley Beal. So I think it's like what the Warriors pretty much did. You put them around a bunch of good scorers off the ball. They do pin down screens and stuff. It's game over because now you have to accommodate for who had the ball in his hand. And now you have to accommodate for where these people are at all times on the court. So I think it just almost like what the Rockets did. You're gonna score more points than the other team, and you're gonna win games like that.
But that was their downfall too. Is you live and die by the 3, but then also, I mean, let's use the Rockets back when they had James Harden and Chris Paul. Like they had so much firepower. In the Warriors, we can use them as an example too. But that's kind of their downfall. Is when that doesn't work, they have nothing to fall back on. Like not a thing. Nothing. And like even with the Warriors, that's a big critique is that we have for Steph, in terms of his killer instinct is if they're down, who's going to bring them back? Now, obviously, these players aren't Steph and they're not, obviously their skills are going to change. But it's like if their firepower is like winding down or it's not on that night or whatnot, what do you fall back and rely on? And then how consistent does that happen? How often does that happen?
Yeah. So then I think the answer to your question is it's like, and that did not work for James Harden because the system was James Harden. You had to rely on James Harden. Everybody else was like robots and just shot threes. Like PJ Tucker, Trevor Ariza, these were players that would just catch and shoot, or Daniel House. And would just kind of sit and watch him play iso ball. So that does not work. But I think what the Suns did is almost like what the Warriors did. You have Devin Booker as your Curry. You have Bradley Beal as your Clay. You have Kevin Durant as Kevin Durant. You're missing like that pass that like Draymond Green to set everybody up in a sense, but you might have Torian Craig kind of just sit there maybe. But I think with that personality, Devin Booker will be the aggressor, and now
Mhm.
you have Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant doing what they do best off the ball, and vice versa. And I think you let Devin Booker come off screens with these people, it makes it so much harder to play. Because remember in the playoffs, all they had to do was lock. They couldn't stop Kevin Durant and Devin Booker.
Mhm.
And like Joker, the Clippers, they were putting 30, they were putting 70 points together every single night. So I think we were adding more, and then it's gonna be like almost a mimic of what I think what the Warriors did, just missing that rock like Draymond Green. Unless like
Mhm.
Ayton steps up, I think both have Ayton there. So now they have like the now they have Ayton. So I'm like, if he locks in and like they can do some real damage with that
He's
squad. But
leaving. He didn't even want to be there, but apparently that was because of Monty. They're saying that like him and Monty
yes,
didn't have like a
once he
really
didn't
good
want to use him,
relationship.
and not
Yeah.
know so that
And
I
that's
think
crazy. It was like Monty, I mean not Monty, Aiden wanted to be in Phoenix. He was home. That's where he wanted to be at. And you guys go to the finals. How do you not know how to leverage the big man in an era of small ball? I mean,
yeah, I like I said, there's only like three good real big men in the league, and everybody else is very average big men. They don't really do too much besides Jokic and Embiid. And if you count Giannis as like a big man, that's it. Everybody else, that's why I think other any centers are just never gonna touch them except you're like if you're like a unicorn like Victor Wembanyama, that's like the next big man. But everybody else is like either you're extremely good or you're like Andre Drummond big man. Like
so what do
you're
you think
just
about Chris Thompson then? Because he's making his way to Boston as part of a big three, and he can do like he's like a Brook Lopez. He can shoot the three, space the floor, drive if he needs to.
I think, like you said, it's the flashes. It's the injuries that probably stopped him. But where he's coming from, I think it's better situation. He never been like in a team setting like the Celtics. The
I'll give you that.
Knicks wasn't home. The Mavericks weren't that good, weren't as well coached to do it. Plus, it's a Luka dominated game ball, so
Mm-hmm.
it's like you had him kind of just sitting there, not really
Yeah.
initiating anything. You seen him in the Wizards where he played his best ball because he's able to free roam and play his his game, and that's why he averaged like 25 last year. So I say that.
True.
So that's why I gave the grades and ratings. And now, did you have a following point? Or you want to transition to the last trade of the day that we had?
No, no. I mean, I think the only point I would make is that it's going to be interesting to see who becomes the facilitator for Phoenix because everyone's aggressive. I mean, you hit it on the head. You got three of the top scorers in the league plus Aiden, all of which are going to be aggressive. You're going to need a facilitator, like flat out. And that should have been Chris Paul, which is why it's very interesting to see him leave. So I'm very interested to see who's going to be the facilitator and give up.
I trust Booker. I trust Booker. Oh, we also forgot they still have Cameron Payne, who's sometimes he steps
They
up.
got Cameron Payne.
I know. I can't believe I'm saying this in 2023. Said I
Hey,
had Cameron Payne, but I mean, if you have the three of the best scorers in the league, Cameron Payne, this is your time. You have the fifth worst defender on you.
true,
This is your time, Cameron Payne.
true, true.
Everybody
Time to
knows
show up.
the focal point. This is when you come in, you facilitate. And I like the times that Devin Booker was facilitating this playoffs. He was getting like 10 assists, like here and there. Like
Mm.
anybody I feel like who's such a good player and a guard, you can facilitate. You can play make, especially if you're so good as Devin Booker.
But I
Like
think that's an issue though, because I mean, he's the one who's going to give you 70. Like you can give him the ball, he'll score no matter what. So
that.
I would hate to see him just become a facilitator and not as aggressive on the offensive side, for the sake of his teammates. But I understand why he would do it. But I mean, that's an aggressive scorer right there to just kind of let, I guess, become a point guard. But that's like putting Jordan at the point guard, which I mean, that man averaged like a triple double at doing that. So it might
You
be
know what
worth
I'm
it.
saying? The same way we pay Giannis at the point guard sometimes, and you see him start. It's like that. It's like it
Yeah.
still works. It's like as long as you know when to turn it on and turn it off. I think that's
Right.
the thing. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like
That's fair.
have that
Okay.
aggressive mentality, and you see him. He loves Kobe. Like he likes to turn it on and be a
So I
dog when
mean,
he.
so this only matters then if they play Nuggets, because obviously with the Nuggets winning the finals, the championship runs through Denver. And I mean, straight up matchup wise, they're a nightmare to match up with, assuming, of course, they keep their core. But they're a
Mhm.
nightmare to match up with. I see Aiton being useful against Jokic, but not stopping Jokic. So then I guess how does the Suns do against the Nuggets, the defending champs, which is really what matters?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. I just we would have to see how it plays out. I think like you said, the They probably match up the best. The Nuggets probably match up the best in the West against them. I think
Mm.
everybody else will get it mostly a disadvantage, in my opinion, especially with the transition so quickly to the Jordan Poole trade. I think the Warriors they get worse with this trade. Personally, I don't know with Draymond Green also declining. I don't know why you take an old Chris Paul where you had Jordan Poole. He didn't play as good last year, but he was your franchise. I would say your next franchise player because he is like a protege that he's trying to
Mm.
become it.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be like learning pains where he's gonna miss and take bad shots, but I think his upside and return was gonna be way better than Chris Paul. I don't know. I think your team just got smaller because why would you pick Chris Paul? Pick Chris Paul, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. I would hope you start Kaminga and then put Draymond Green. Oh no, you have Andrew Wiggins and then Draymond Green. That is a small ball
That is a
lineup.
small ball, small
For
lineup.
that lineup. So
Yes.
that's my thing is like, I don't
I
know,
did
bro.
not understand nor like that trade.
I don't
It
think
doesn't make sense to me. And I can't think the only reason to think like they would make that trade is he's going to lead the second unit and he'll be a floor general to control them. But even then, is he scoring enough to keep you guys in the game?
so.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like Poole brought a lot of offense. So how would you grade that trade? Because I was blown away.
I'm giving the Wizards. This is the first time I give them like probably a B on this.
Ooh,
Yeah, because I
okay.
think they still up. I think they also got a pick. They got a pick from the Warriors, a
Yeah.
2030 first round pick. So maybe I bumped into A. By the time the
Mm,
Warriors have and they don't give anybody else any options, I think they won because now Jordan Poole honestly living the best life. He made his bag in the Warriors.
true.
He gets to go to a new city, put up as many shots as he wants, and gets another bigger bag. And then you got the Dubai boys, the Saudi Arabia guys that invested into um the Wizards as well. So I think it's good for him. He'll probably see even more money. I think that. I think the Warriors got worse off of that. I probably grade that as a D because I don't know where it's gonna go. I think
All right.
after the Bob Myers, Mike Dunleavy is now the GM. Don't know the philosophy, but I'm not gonna count the Warrior dynasty out. But I don't see you guys getting better defensively or offensively with Chris Paul at his age, and I don't see you being able to flip this with return luxury tax. I don't see it worth it personally, but hey, we're gonna see how it plays out.
I agree. I agree. I would say like Washington, I would give them a B. I would stick with your original grade. I'd give Washington a B because they came up on that trade. Um, I give Golden State either a C or a D. I don't understand the move. I don't get it. And I don't know. I just don't get it. But we got like 3 minutes left, less than that. And you hit it on the head. Draymond declined. Chris Middleton declined as well. Is Draymond staying in Golden State? Is he going somewhere else? I mean, he's on vacation with Bron, and they're always talking in Lincoln.
Yep, that's the banana boat boys. I
Hmm.
It's kind of hard to read because now that I feel like you would only do that move with Draymond leaving per se because
Yep.
then you get the facilitating to Chris Paul. And you don't need Draymond just standing there with the ball the whole day. But I mean, why give up Draymond? Because that's literally who goes in there, sets those screens, does all the gritty work that you don't want to do,
Yep.
rebounding, coaching everybody, calling out all the plays. So I don't really know. I don't see Draymond. It really depends. Like if Draymond is great around the weapons he has, but now will Draymond still be Draymond wherever he goes without the same people around him? He makes them better. They make him better. Now it's per se just finding the right
And he'll
thing.
end up in Phoenix. And they have all the weapons there. He could be the facility. He'll end up in Phoenix. I think
I
he ends
think
up in
Draymond has more
Phoenix.
stomach than doing that because he hates Kevin Durant. You've
True.
seen
Yeah.
that. He's
Yeah.
not gonna go there. Jordan Poole already unfollowed him. He's been waiting for that all season. Jordan Poole, the thumbnails are gonna be there for you. Unfollow. So I don't know why Chris Middleton declines either. You definitely needed to just take that money because you're injury prone and you have not been supporting Giannis as we needed. But
Hmm.
it's the NBA. They give a lot of money out.
Just to talk about it. All right, so we got a minute left. I need to know. Draft is tonight. What's the
Draft
draft
tonight.
order? What's the draft order?
I need Victor,
Yeah,
Brandon Miller,
yeah,
Scoot Henderson. I think that's the
yeah,
best three. I
yeah.
think if everybody the best, and I put money on the line for Brandon Miller to go number two and Scoot to go number three. So I want that to go. I don't want to see Michael Jordan do Michael Jordan things as a GM. What do you
It's
think?
coming. Same, same. I got Wimby to the Spurs, Miller to the Hornets, and Scoot to the Blazers, even though the Blazers don't really need Scoot. So it'll be interesting to see if they trade that pick away or not. But
Yeah,
they don't need him
right.
with Anthony Simons out there and Dame out there. Dame's not trying to go nowhere either. So They don't need him. But I got Wemby first, Miller second, and Scoot third.
Perfect. Yep. I needed to go that way because I want a payday. They are looking good. I needed to go that way. So they follow that. I say, if anything, if they trade Scoop to the Pelicans, get Zion or Brandon Ingram, I think that's what makes it best.
I don't want Zion. I don't want him.
Zion's good in Portland, man. There's
I
nothing.
don't
There's
want
nothing.
Zion.
There's
He's
no
not
reason.
healthy.
Come
It's
on.
Greg and